Imagine watching a TikTok live, expecting dances, jokes, maybe a small family argument, and instead you witness a woman whispering for help while her husband stands behind her, smiling like nothing is wrong. Viewers thought it was a prank. They kept typing, laughing emojis, until she said the one thing that froze every single person watching. She said he has a secret that he would rather die than let the world know. And she said she was done protecting him. 10 seconds later, millions of people watched the screen turn red, and her phone fell to the floor. Tonight we are going inside one of the most disturbing cases ever streamed live. A woman begging the internet to believe her. A husband who would rather end everything than be exposed. And a secret that will make you question how well you truly know the people you live with. Before we begin, make sure you subscribe. You do not want to miss stories like this. Stories that change the way you look at love, trust, and danger. And drop a comment saying where you are watching from. Her name was Liana, a 27-year-old mother of one, known on TikTok for her warm smile and her habit of speaking life into her followers. People called her the girl who could make a room feel safe just by walking in. She was the kind of woman who prayed for strangers, tipped waiters extra even when she barely had enough for herself, and posted videos telling women to leave any man who dimmed their light. She had no idea she would one day become the warning the whole world shared. Her husband, Mark, was nothing like her. On camera, he looked calm, responsible, almost gentle. Off camera, he carried an anger that grew out of things he could never admit out loud. His childhood was filled with secrets, shame, and a habit of hiding anything that made him feel weak. He loved control. He loved silence. He loved the idea of being seen as the perfect husband more than he loved being one. They met in church. Liana was the choir girl with the soft voice. Mark was the quiet usher who watched everyone with the same stiff smile. People said they looked perfect together, two calm souls starting a life. But their close friends noticed something. Liana's smile slowly faded over the years. She stopped posting about her favorite hobbies. She wore long sleeves even during hot seasons. And whenever she laughed too loud, Mark would give her that stare, the kind that could silence a storm. She tried to leave him 3 times. Each time he promised he would change. Each time she forgave him and prayed harder. And each time the house grew darker. The secret started months before the live stream, a discovery that shook her, something she never expected from the man she once believed was her protector. She told one friend, she told one sister, and she promised she would never say it publicly because she knew what Mark was capable of if he ever felt exposed. But pain has a limit, silence has an expiry date, and fear can turn into courage when you reach your breaking point. So on that afternoon, she opened her phone, clicked the Go Live button, and made a decision that would end everything. She was tired of being quiet, tired of pretending, tired of hiding his secret, a secret that would make the internet gasp, a secret that pushed him past the edge. And as thousands joined her live, unaware of the storm that was about to explode, she took a deep breath that would become the last peaceful moment of her life. From the outside, Liana and Mark looked like a couple building a peaceful life. Their neighbors remembered them walking their little daughter to school every morning, Liana holding her daughter's hand, Mark walking a few steps behind them, always watching, always quiet. People thought he was a shy husband. They did not know silence can sometimes be a warning, a pressure building under the surface. Their relationship changed slowly, like a dimmer switch turning the light down one notch at a time. At first it was small things. He hated when she wore bright colors because he said she drew too much attention. She switched to dark clothes. Then he complained that her TikTok videos were childish, so she deleted half of them to keep him calm. When her friends invited her out, he said she should be home with her family. Eventually, she stopped going out at all. She did not even realize she was disappearing, piece by piece. Abuse is strange like that. It does not start with shouting. It starts with correction. It starts with smiling while holding the knife behind its back. The arguments became more intense after their daughter was born. Liana wanted to raise their child with love. Mark wanted control. He wanted the house to stay silent. He wanted everything to be exactly how he imagined it. She tried to keep the peace, cooking his favorite meals, avoiding conversations that triggered him, sleeping with fear tucked under her pillow like a second skin. He monitored her phone. He read her messages. He deleted contacts he did not like. He even changed her TikTok password once, claiming he was protecting her from trolls. She laughed it off. She had no idea these were early signs of a storm. The turning point came the day she found out the secret. The room felt colder after that. She could no longer look at him the same way. Every time he touched her, she felt her entire body tighten. Every night she cried silently while their daughter slept beside her. She knew something inside their marriage had snapped forever. She tried to confront him once, hoping honesty would fix everything. But he reacted with a fear she had never seen before, a fear that quickly twisted into rage. He told her if she ever told anyone, he would destroy everything she loved. It was the first time she saw the man behind the mask. And she knew then that her life was no longer safe. Still, she stayed. Not because she wanted to, but because she was planning. She wanted to leave the right way. She wanted her daughter protected. She wanted her story told on her terms. She wanted people to believe her. But Mark sensed the shift. He felt her slipping away. And insecure men with secrets do not allow silence. They push. They control harder. They grab tighter. They watch you like prey. By the time she decided to go live on TikTok, the marriage was nothing but a quiet war waiting for a spark. And that spark was coming. The secret came to Liana on a day that started quietly, a day she believed would be peaceful. She was cleaning the bedroom, humming softly, the way she did when she tried to keep her mind calm. Their daughter was napping. The house finally felt safe. But safety can vanish in one heartbeat. She opened the drawer to put away laundry, and that was when she saw it. A small box tucked behind folded shirts, hidden like a buried shame. She thought it was jewelry, maybe a gift, something normal, something harmless. But when she opened it, her breath left her body so fast she felt dizzy. Inside were items that made her knees shake, things she never expected from the man who preached masculinity, discipline, control. Things that did not match the image he forced on her, the image he forced on everyone. She stared at them, confused at first. Then the meaning hit her, and she dropped the box on the bed like it burned her skin. She could not believe what she was seeing. She could not believe the life she thought she knew was built on a lie. When Mark walked in and saw the box open, everything changed. His face froze. His eyes widened with a fear she had never witnessed. He did not shout. He did not explain. He simply grabbed the box, slammed it shut, and said a sentence that made her heart fall out of her chest. He told her if she ever mentioned what she saw, he would make sure nobody ever heard her voice again. That was the moment she understood just how deep his darkness ran. She tried to forget. She tried to pretend she had not seen it. But every time he looked at her, she remembered the panic on his face, the trembling in his voice, the way he hovered over her like a man desperate to keep a mask from slipping. Then came the nights he started acting strange. He stayed awake long after she fell asleep, sitting on the edge of the bed, staring into the dark as if he was fighting demons she could not see. Sometimes she woke up and found him standing over her, just watching. No expression, no blinking, just watching. She told her sister. She whispered the secret slowly, terrified the walls would hear her. Her sister begged her to leave him, but Liana said something heartbreaking. She said she was scared he would follow her anywhere she went. She said she knew he would rather destroy everything than let the world know who he truly was. The more distant she became, the more aggressive he grew. He started accusing her of planning to embarrass him online. Whenever she picked up her phone, he asked who she was talking to. Whenever she stepped outside, he asked who she was meeting. He even accused her of plotting with her followers, paranoid that the world was getting too close to the truth. And deep inside, a fire was growing in Liana. A painful, tired, exhausted fire. A fire made of years of silence, fear, humiliation, and pretending. She knew she could not keep this inside anymore. If she stayed quiet, she would lose herself completely. She did not plan to expose everything on TikTok, not at first. But the pressure was building. The secret was eating her alive. And one afternoon, when she realized she could no longer survive in that house without losing her soul, she made a choice that would change everything. She chose to speak. She chose the live button. She chose the world. She had no idea he was standing outside the door listening. The morning of the live stream felt wrong from the moment Liana opened her eyes. She said later, in messages found on her phone, that she felt a coldness in her chest the moment she woke up. A heaviness, a warning. Almost like her spirit was trying to tell her that this day would not end like any other day. Mark was already awake, pacing the living room with his hands behind his back. He barely looked at her when she walked in. He just asked where she went the night before, even though she never left the house. His voice was low, controlled, but there was a shaking underneath it. That kind of shaking that tells you a person has been up all night thinking about one thing, one fear, one possibility that terrifies them. Liana tried to avoid him. She made breakfast for their daughter. She cleaned. She kept her voice soft. She did everything she normally did to keep the peace. But it was useless. Mark sat on the couch and watched her every move, his eyes filled with suspicion. His foot tapped the floor nonstop. He looked like a man waiting for an explosion, a man terrified of being exposed. Around noon, he asked her if she told anyone his secret. Not angrily, not loudly, just quietly. Too quietly. She said no. She even forced a smile, but he kept staring at her like he was searching her soul for the truth. When he stepped outside to take a phone call, Liana finally exhaled. Her hands were shaking. She went into the bedroom and locked the door. She collapsed on the floor, crying silently. Weeks of fear caught up with her. Weeks of hiding. Weeks of feeling trapped in a house with a man who could switch from calm to dangerous in seconds. She looked at her reflection in the mirror. Her eyes were swollen. Her smile was gone. She barely recognized herself. She whispered, "I cannot keep living like this." And the moment she said those words, something inside her snapped back into place. She chose courage over silence. Her followers always told her she was strong. Maybe she wanted to believe it for once. At 2:18 p.m., she sat on the bed, opened TikTok, and hovered over the Go Live button. She hesitated. Her hand trembled. She knew that if she did this, everything would change. Mark would lose the image he spent years building, and men like him do not let go of their mask peacefully. But she thought of her daughter. She thought of the life she wanted her child to grow up in. She thought of women who stayed quiet for too long. She thought of the secret that kept her up at night. And she pressed the button. The screen lit up. Her face appeared, tired but brave. Comments started flooding in. People were happy to see her. They had no idea they were minutes away from witnessing something that would haunt them forever. While she spoke softly to her followers, while she tried to gather the courage to tell the truth, something she did not see was happening behind the bedroom door. Mark was listening. His ear was pressed against the wood. His breathing had changed. His worst fear was unfolding, and he was about to make a decision that would end everything. When Liana finally went live, her hands were trembling, but her voice was steady. She greeted her followers, forcing a smile she no longer felt. People commented that she looked tired. Some asked if she was okay. She kept saying she was fine, even though her eyes told a different story. She glanced toward the door more than once. She kept lowering her voice. Viewers thought she was trying not to wake her daughter. They did not know she was afraid Mark was listening, and he was. Behind the door, he stood completely still. His ear was pressed against the wood. His breathing was uneven, like he was trying to control himself but failing. Inside the live stream, the tension built slowly. Liana said she needed to talk about something important. She said she was tired of protecting someone who never protected her. Comments started flooding in, asking what she meant. Some told her to leave the house. Some begged her to end the live if she felt unsafe. She hesitated, swallowed hard, then whispered, "I cannot keep hiding his secret. Not anymore." Those words were enough. Outside the room, Mark's fear snapped into pure rage. He reached for the door handle and pushed it open with a force that made the viewers hear the thud through her phone speakers. Liana's eyes widened. The comments exploded. Viewers thought it was a prank, but the look on her face told the truth. This was not a prank. This was a moment that would turn into tragedy. The moment Mark stepped into the room, the air changed. Viewers heard the door slam against the wall. Liana's breath caught in her throat. She tried to move her phone, but he was already beside her, towering over her like a shadow she could never escape. He asked her one question, his voice low and shaking. "What did you just say?" Liana whispered, "Please, not now. I'm live." Her followers saw fear take over her eyes. The comments exploded. Some begged her to leave. Some typed, "Call the police." Others kept asking if this was a joke. Mark picked up her phone for a second, looked directly into the camera, and thousands of people felt their stomach drop. His eyes were empty, cold, the kind of eyes that do not belong to a man in control, but a man who feels like everything is slipping away. He threw the phone back on the bed. The screen tilted sideways. Viewers could only see Liana's shoulder and part of the wall, but they could hear everything. Mark kept asking, "Who did you tell? Who did you tell about me?" Liana's voice broke as she said, "Mark, please stop. People are watching." He didn't care. He paced the room like an animal cornered, muttering to himself, breathing hard, grabbing his head as if he was fighting something inside. She tried to calm him. She tried to stand up, but he pushed her back down on the bed. Gasps filled the comments. Some viewers started trying to screen record. Others typed, "End the live, please." Then she said the sentence that changed everything. She said, "If you hurt me today, the whole world will know why." Mark froze. His hands dropped. And for the first time, viewers heard a sound come from him that did not sound human. It sounded like a man breaking from the inside. He stepped toward her slowly. Liana whispered, "Please don't do this in front of our daughter." He didn't stop. The phone lay sideways on the bed, capturing only a corner of the room, but the sound was enough to terrify everyone watching. You could hear Liana's breathing speeding up. You could hear Mark's footsteps on the floor, slow at first, then heavier. Like he had finally made a decision he could not reverse. Viewers typed frantically. Some were begging her to run. Some were calling out her name. Some commented that they could hear a child crying faintly in the background. That made everything worse. People realized their daughter was in the next room, hearing all of this, powerless to stop it. Liana tried to stand again. She whispered, "Mark, our daughter is here. Please." Her voice cracked in the middle, like fear was squeezing the air out of her lungs. But Mark was not listening anymore. He was whispering things under his breath. Words nobody could fully understand. Words that sounded like blame, panic, shame, and rage all tangled together inside his mind. She reached out and touched his arm gently, the same way she used to calm him years ago. That touch used to pull him back. But today it pushed him further over the edge. He yanked his arm away so violently she stumbled backward. The comments went silent for a second. Then the chat exploded into panic. Someone typed, "I heard a drawer open." Another wrote, "Call the police now." Another viewer begged, "Liana, please leave, please." There was a sudden scrape sound, something metallic, something that made thousands of people freeze. Liana froze too. Her eyes widened. She whispered, "You promised you would never do this." Then viewers heard a voice they would never forget. Mark's voice, cold, final. He said, "I told you, if you ruined me, I would ruin everything." Liana backed toward the corner of the room. She covered her mouth with her hands. Viewers could hear her sobbing now. Full, broken sobs. Not fear for herself anymore, but fear for who would be left behind. She said one last thing, her voice shaking so hard it barely came out. "Please, Mark. Our daughter needs me." And then the screen shifted as Mark's shadow moved closer, blocking the little light in the frame. The moment everyone feared was seconds away. The live stream became chaos. Comments flooded faster than anyone could read. Viewers typed warnings, cries for help, disbelief. Some typed, "No, this cannot be happening." Some typed, "She is going to die." The sound of Liana's sobs filled the small corner of the room, captured by her phone. Her breathing came in short, desperate gasps. Mark moved closer. His face was pale, almost ghost-like. He whispered something that no one could understand, a murmur meant only for Liana, but it carried a weight that froze everyone watching. Her hands shot up instinctively to protect herself. She tried to push him away, but he was too strong, too desperate. There was a sudden sharp sound, a metallic clang. Screams erupted in the comments. Some viewers froze, unsure if it was real. Then came the next sound, A thud, a sob, and silence that felt eternal. For a moment, viewers could only hear her phone hitting the bed. The screen tilted, capturing a blur, a shadow, a movement too fast to follow. People cried in the comments. People typed their disbelief. Some whispered prayers in all caps. The live stream became a record of fear, panic, and tragedy in real time. Mark stood over her, his chest heaving, his hands trembling. And in those moments, viewers witnessed something they would never forget. A man consumed by rage and fear, and a woman who tried to save herself, trying to scream, trying to survive, but already trapped by the consequences of revealing the truth. And then, the feed went dark. For thousands of people, the horror of what just happened sank in immediately. Some called the police. Some kept refreshing the stream, hoping for a mistake, a replay that would undo what they had just seen. But there was no mistake. Liana was gone. The police arrived within minutes after neighbors called in, terrified by screams and chaos that spilled beyond the house. When they entered, the scene was worse than anyone could imagine. Liana was unresponsive. The room smelled of panic, blood, and broken trust. Mark was sitting on the floor, muttering to himself, rocking back and forth. His eyes were hollow, empty, like a man who had already lost everything. News of the live stream spread instantly. Screenshots, clips, and shocked commentary went viral. Millions had witnessed her final moments. People could not stop talking about it. Friends of Liana cried openly. Women shared their own stories of fear and control. Mothers whispered prayers for the little girl who had seen far too much. Investigators uncovered the secret she had revealed on the livestream. A truth so dark it explained Mark's obsession with control, the rage, and the desperation. People could not believe someone they knew in their daily lives could hide such a darkness behind smiles and calm words. Interviews revealed neighbors had noticed tension for years. Friends admitted Liana had often hinted at fear, but had kept silent. Now everyone questioned their assumptions. How well can you truly know someone? How often do people hide darkness behind love, smiles, in the perfect life? The internet mourned her. Millions shared her story. They commented, crying, screaming, begging others to recognize the signs. Liana became more than a victim. She became a warning, a name that would be remembered forever. Even in death, she forced the world to see what she could not survive. And her story left a question that haunted everyone watching. How many lives are hidden behind the smiles of people we think we know? Liana's story did not end with her death. It lived on in every comment, every share, every tear. Her daughter would grow up hearing her mother's name spoken with love, sorrow, and warning. Mark faced justice, but no sentence could undo the horror millions had witnessed. This case forced the world to confront a chilling truth. Sometimes danger hides behind the most familiar faces. Sometimes love is a mask for control, obsession, and secrets that can destroy lives. And sometimes bravery comes at the highest price. If you were shocked by this story, take a moment to comment below. Tell us where you are watching from. Share your thoughts. Were there warning signs you might have missed in your own life? Could you recognize this before it was too late? Make sure to subscribe so you never miss stories that reveal the dark side of human nature. Stories that shock. Stories that stay with you long after the screen goes black. Liana may be gone, but her voice, her courage, and her warning live on.